Welcome back to Porfiro, brought to you by WMHD.
Fall breaks over and the university is crowded again. When you come back from the mailroom this morning, Antigone's not there. All her stuff is, though. You look around for her. She's talking with some guy. He's part of the slide rule on the belt crowd, and Antigone's smiling challengingly. So maybe they're arguing? But he looks very happy. You file this information away for later discussion with Johnny and start grading. After about an hour, Antigone sits next to you with a little giggle and rattles the box she's holding.
Hey, kid, guess what?
Huh.
I've got an admirer. And Toffee.
Oh. Cool. Do you admire him back?
Nope. 2 years younger than me, and surely only interested because of the stupid contest thing.
This seems like a fair and accurate assessment, but you can't help feeling for the admirer. You gave a girl candy for Christmas last year, which took all your courage and about 1,000 pep talks from Johnny. She ate the candy and proceeded to ignore you for the next... Well, you still haven't talked to her outside of class.
But you accepted his toffee.
He's a jerk. He deserves it. Believe me, I know I had to use the same lab station as him for a while, and he never cleaned it properly.
Well, but...
She cocks an eyebrow at you.
I was going to offer you some, you know. But I understand if you have moral objections. In fact, I respect that completely. It'll take a while to eat this all by myself, but it's the blue flavor which is the best one.
She rattles the box and smiles fiercely. Fuck it. Candy is your weakness. Julia never let you have much. Something about tooth decay?
You're absolutely sure?
No.
You hold out your hands and she fills them with blue toffee. Wow, Julia was onto something. The toffee sticks in your teeth, which quickly becomes annoying. You go to the water fountain and chug like 3 gallons of water to get it out. When you come back, Antigone's at the table with her arms folded over her chest, staring someone down. This doesn't really surprise you. What does surprise you is that the someone is Martin.
Hasn't put me up to anything. I came here to look at the seismograph and check out books.
Sure. You can admit it, you know.
What do you want me to admit? You want me to lie to you? I can't just say, oh, hey kid.
He gives you a strained smile.
Look, Martin, an easy out. Why don't you talk to him and ignore me? Oh, wait, you're already doing that, coward.
Martin gives her a look of shock, then grabs a book off the table and turns to you.
Sorry to start your day like this, Porfiro.
You're not gonna say anything to that?
I don't know what to say. I want to check this out.
Oh, go fuck yourself, Martin.
Martin's eyes widen. He leans away so far you worry he'll fall over. Then he straightens up and stalks off.
What was that?
She turns to glare at you.
What was what?
Did he do something to you?
She rolls her eyes and puts on a false voice.
Oh, hello, Antigone! How are you, Antigone? How have you been?
He said that? So what?
Well, obviously his wife put him up to it.
I think like 90% of people just say those things when they see other people.
Antigone rakes her hands through her hair, which messes up her ponytail.
Yeah, but you don't have the context, kid. Carmen is always trying to get into my business. She's insufferable about it, really.
Carmen the magician?
Yeah?
You just look at her. She glares at you, then glares at the floor.
Fuck Martin. Everybody look at me, Martin, the wonderful, perfect magician. I'm so hard-working and diligent. Watch as I wander around working conspicuously hard and diligently. Watch as I stand in church next to my wife, who is also, incidentally, perfect. I'm so great. I work so delightfully much, and I never make mistakes. Watch as I...
Are you serious?
Course.
What's your problem?
She sniffs disdainfully, then picks up a massive stack of papers and slams it down next to you.
These are my exams, kid. I want them graded today. Answer key is somewhere in the middle.
You look at her again and she stares you down. You decide not to mess with her because she's acting insane right now. You start leafing through the pile to find the key. It was a bad staple job and exams keep coming apart. You get poked a couple times. After a while, Antigone laughs a little, then extends a sheet of paper to you.
Sorry, kid. I couldn't resist.
You look back and forth between her and the sheet of paper.
Is this the key?
She nods sheepishly.
Have you lost it?
I have it right here in my hands.
She shakes the key at you.
No. Have you lost your mind?
She certainly sounds like she has.
Of course not, kid. Look, you'll understand this stuff when you're older. Carmen does stuff like that. She's openly asked after me through Martin before, you know? She usually does that stuff if she knows something's happened to me.
You're not really sure you believe that. You've heard that crazy people always think they're the center of attention.
Why does she care?
We're friends, remember?
Uh-huh. So you yelled at Martin because...
He was being an idiot.
And she picks up a bunch of papers, turning away pointedly.
No, he wasn't.
She glares at you and waggles the bunch of papers. It's the modern lit thing with the guy kissing the microwave. You barely keep your face straight.
Look, kid, I have stuff to do. I recommend you get started too. You've wasted enough time this morning.
Yeah, it was totally my fault, too.
She flips you off. You knock at Martin's door and Carmen comes out, wearing slippers with her dress and suit coat. You've only seen her in heels before, and are pleased to find she's shorter than you.
Porfiro! Hey there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. Unfortunately, Martin might not make it tonight. You're welcome to come inside and wait for him, or I can send you on your way.
Does this mean you might have to eat potato starch for dinner tonight? Ew, no.
Can I come in?
Of course! I was hoping you'd say that.
She hugs you and you hug back. Then you follow her into the living room and sit with her on the ugly orange couch. The little living dishes serve you tea and cookies. Yay!
Where's Martin?
He's here, actually. Just resting.
Is he okay?
She sighs and picks up a teacup, which snuggles into her hand.
Yes and no. It's been a long day for us today.
Is it because of what Antigone said to him?
Not that I know of. Is she stirring up trouble again? Oh, don't answer that. I suppose she must be. And to think we used to be close. No, it's mostly been a long day because of work. There was a lot to do.
Oh. How lame.
Yep.
She sighs again. Your teacup, empty of tea, jumps out of your hand and stands on the coffee table under the teapot. The teapot doesn't do anything. After a minute, the teacup says quite clearly, "Quit ignoring me," and the teapot fills it up with tea. Amazing. Then the little guy walks to the edge of the table and looks at you pointedly. You pick him up.
Hey, how did you make these dishes?
Make them? We didn't.
She gives you a big, sad smile.
You can't make things this good these days.
Ugh, you totally get why adults are all nostalgic for before the famine? But you always feel awkward when they talk about it, since you weren't even born yet then.
But you could before. All the bad stuff? Hey, then how come there aren't a lot of them then? I mean, I've never seen a live tea set before.
Well, magicians have been stretched thin for a long time. They couldn't exactly sit around making these all day, even in times of relative prosperity. These belonged to Martin's father, but he couldn't really take care of them. They do require some maintenance by a magician, more and more as time goes on, and, as stated, magicians have always been stretched thin. It's most certainly worth it, of course. Anyway, we sort of let him put them in our care.
Did he make them?
Ah, good question. He did not. Some hundreds of years ago, it was common practice for magicians to animate their possessions, turn them into little helpers. That's where these guys come from. But the technique was lost shortly after the city was founded, and, well, some of these little monsters are older than the city itself.
Oh crap. That's terrifying.
Indeed. To be fair, some of the ones that can't talk were made in the city, right at the beginning. And I don't think any of them really remember back then. They certainly don't remember how to help with our work. Not that you need to. You're all perfect the way you are.
Do you think any of them go all the way back? To the Carnelian Lady and antiquity and stuff?
I can't imagine so.
Really? I can.
Have you said something funny?
What?
Nothing. You're just so frank. It's endearing. Don't worry about it.
Ugh, she's weird.
Regarding the dishes, I don't think they came from that period because they're too simple, you know? If magic really was as good then as the stories say, and I think it was, then they wouldn't have made little things like animated porcelain. They'd have built the world up into something so complicated we couldn't have understood. They wouldn't have had tea sets. They wouldn't have had anything recognizable to us.
Sounds like you think about this a lot.
Used to think about this a lot. Martin and I would discuss it when we were your age, the height of the famine. It was good escapism, and a good excuse to spend time with Martin.
She puts her teacup on the table and stands up.
Speaking of whom, I ought to check up on him. I'll let him know that you're here.
She disappears, then promptly reappears, looking a little surprised.
He says you can come see him if you want. He's in the bedroom.
Oh, sure.
You've never seen Martin's room before. You expect it to be a total ode to nerdiness, maybe lined with bookshelves and crammed to the brim with trinkets. And you were right. Well, almost right. There's only one bookshelf, but it's basically exploding. In a corner, under searingly bright lamps, there's a technical-looking setup that's growing flowers. You're a little surprised to see perfume and makeup displayed on a tiny desk. Martin's in bed with his clothes on, reading a book.
Hi, Martin. How are you feeling?
Like shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's really shitty. Did Antigone really, get to you?
No. She's going through a lot. Which is stressful. For her and for me.
He hasn't looked up from his book once. You lean forward to see what the title is.
How's, the fast Fourier transform going?
Martin puts the book on a pillow.
Not well. I've been reading the same paragraph for about 5 minutes now. Let's just get started.
You don't have to. Carmen said you had a bad day.
Ugh. Yeah, it was fucking awful. Some politician types wanted the 112th story cleared for access. Carmen fought them and lost, so that was my day down the fucking toilet. But you can go to floor 112 now. At least you could at 5 today. It's probably unsafe again by now.
He stands up.
Come on.
He teaches you with a distracted air, sighing heavily every few minutes. He doesn't even show signs of life when you get him on a tangent about transverse waves in seismography. Yikes. After about half an hour, he turns to you to make eye contact for the first time.
I'm sorry, kid. It's just... I try to be helpful generally, but when people step on that and kick you around, well, it just feels really... shitty.
Yeah. I'll bet.
He puts his face in his hands.
I do my best to reason with them, but sometimes it's just pointless.
I'm sorry, Martin.
Not your fault, kid.
He keeps making comments like this throughout the evening. Your sympathy fades a little after the 8th or 9th time he says basically the same thing in the same sad voice. By the end of the evening, you're avoiding his eyes. This makes you feel a little guilty. Martin's always so patient with you, but you just can't find it in yourself to be not annoyed. You go home and tell Johnny the events of the day, mostly focusing on the toffee thing. You're not sure if you should have taken it and want his advice.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like manipulative, but manipulative of her. So, like, the candy already was basically there. You deserve candy, even if she doesn't.
I think she deserves candy. Maybe. Just not from that guy.
Yeah, you gotta do the defend your boss thing. As always, because you have a crush on her.
Johnny, I do not have a crush on every girl you talk bad about. Why is your defense always to accuse me of having a crush on them?
Fine, fine. I won't make fun of your girlfriend. Just kidding. Oh, Porfiro, how I love you! I'm gonna rope you into all the stupid stuff I do, 'cause you're a sucker!
Stop it, Johnny. That's weird.
Yeah, I sound just like her, don't I? Isn't it creepy? But seriously, I've been thinking about what you told me yesterday. She does a lot of stupid shit. It's totally gonna get you in trouble if you keep hanging out with her.
What? No, she doesn't.
Well, that's totally not what you think while you're telling me all the crazy stories you get from work. Oh, Johnny, listen to this one. It's the stupidest story yet. Like my face. It's totally hilarious, and I promise it's even stupider than my seismograph.
Johnny, the seismograph belongs to you. I just use it because...
My boss is a fucking psycho. Listen to this horrible thing she did. I can't believe I date her. Oh, Porfiro, I listened to your story because I pity you, for I am monogamous. Magnanimous.
Wow, Johnny. I would have been so impressed if you hadn't fucked that up. Magnanimous is a huge word. Also, you totally don't listen to me out of pity. You basically beg for details about anyone you think is remotely weird.
Do not.
You asked me how thick I thought Martin's carpet was.
'Cause carpet is expensive to maintain. You can learn a lot about a person from their house. Did you ever find out what grade of toilet paper they use, by the way?
It's you, Johnny, no. And you're just proving my point. You're nosy. And I won't tell you any more stories if you're gonna rip into my friends.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. I don't think Antigone is a good friend to have. And not just because she sounds, like, really boring. Porfiro, I've been thinking about this for the past few days. Morrison is probably totally mad at her right now. And so are all the other people she's yelled at and humiliated and shamed. Like, her lab partner, who she called a sell-all.
A sellout. And...
Yeah, but they got into this big fight that was totally her fault over something totally stupid. And I'm just saying, Porfiro, maybe that's not who you want to be your best buddy?
You're my best buddy.
Yeah, I know. You too. That's obviously why I'm telling you all this shit. And I don't like it. Unlike your boss.
He's playing with a slinky now. It makes this really annoying noise.
Seriously, please. She's weird, and you shouldn't be friends with her. It's like a basic human fact, and I thought about it for, like, all of math class. So, please, just don't.
I didn't know you thought about anything.
Hey, I represent that.
You mean you resent it? Look, Johnny. I appreciate it, but let's talk about something else. Please?
Fine. You're lame. Did you read that one-shot comic I sent you? The one about the Yellow Emperor?
You have, in fact, read it. Johnny's been mailing you his comics, and you've been gobbling them up during breaks at work. You sneak them behind your papers. You're scared Antigone will judge you if she sees them. The two of you talk about this for a while, but you can tell Johnny is still mad at you. You come into work and Antigone is already there. She has a bag of cheap synthetic chocolate next to her slide rule. As you put your stuff down, she pulls out a big handful and holds it sort of in your direction for a second.
Oh, that's okay. I'm good, but
She crams the whole handful into her mouth and mutters something you can't make out around the chocolate. You don't think the words are for you anyway. Judging from her expression, they're for the slide rule. You watch, captivated, while she moves the cursor with the back of her pencil, looking between it and her lab notebook, which is full of crossed-out numbers. As she works through the mouthful of chocolate, her words become clearer.
Could fucking swear that's fucking right, you filthy fuck. So why the fuck won't it fucking agree with the fucking first round? Fuck you!
You pick your stuff back up, then set it down more loudly. She startles and quickly removes the bag of chocolate from sight.
Oh! Kid, hi! How are you?
good. Are you okay?
She smiles big. There's chocolate all over her teeth.
Sure, why wouldn't I be?
Your mouth has... it's really nice.
She gives you a "you're weird" look.
Are you really okay? You seem kinda stressed.
Stressed isn't a very good word. I'm wired, I'm dedicated, I'm engaged, unlike some people.
She inhales. Oh no, she's gearing up for a speech. You try to distract her.
What are you working on?
Error propagation. Did it twice and got 2 different answers. I think I made a stupid mistake, but I can't find it.
The about to give a speech look hasn't gone out of her eye. You brace yourself for the lecture. Luckily, Catholic school prepared you well for this.
You know, many people believe that measurements obtained in a laboratory are completely precise and error-free, but that's a very dangerous misconception.
You nod. You wonder how long she'll be talking and if you can start grading while she's at it. That's probably not nice.
When you record a measurement, you also record the measurement's error margin, how far off it could be. Of course, the results of your lab aren't usually measurements themselves. You do a bunch of number crunching on your measurements in order to get the results. So what happens to the error margins?
They go away?
She draws herself up with a disdainful laugh and her face turns bright red. Oh boy, here she goes.
Well, they sure do when some people write the lab reports. But those fuckers are irresponsible, neglectful slime who blight our collective understanding of science with half-baked nonsense.
Wow. Slime.
She glares at you.
This isn't funny, kid.
Actually, you find it extremely funny.
You're supposed to use the measurement's error margin to calculate an error margin for your final result. As you can see, that's very difficult.
She gestures at the lab notebook.
A lot of people never learn to do it properly, which is a tremendous weight of shame on our education system. And if they have a conscience at all, their own hearts.
You fight to keep your face straight.
Not only does it hamstring their ability to conduct proper studies, but it also keeps them from recognizing the fucking con artists who go around masquerading as real scientists.
She shoots a glare back toward her department. You suppose she's talking about some people there, way more loudly than you dare to do it. They're probably all hearing this.
I mean, think about it. You get some wildly imprecise data with massive error margins. Then you do your error propagation wrong on purpose, so it looks like your results are way more solid than the data justifies. And who catches you? Not the fucking losers who can't perform error propagation to save their sorry fucking butts!
She's standing now, and bright red in the face. She looks angrier than that housekeeper who caught a senior undressed in his girlfriend's room, and more self-righteous than Johnny when you're trying to avoid him. She turns to you.
Well?
Oh, fuck. She wants you to say something supportive, doesn't she? Well, might as well have some fun.
Oh, that's terrible. Those lazy fuckers should all be, waterboarded with mimeograph fluid and have their fingernails polished and broken off and turned into disco balls and, bury themselves in shallow graves. Unmarked ones.
You think you've overdone it. Shit, you shouldn't have added that part about unmarked graves. Oh no, what if you're in for another lecture? But she smiles.
I like that. Still think it's a bit lenient given the magnitude of their sins, but a good start. Maybe they should also have their graves overshadowed by some kind of monument to their shame.
She smiles tightly. You watch, a little horrified, as she returns her attention to the slide rule like nothing's happened. A minute later, she pulls her bag of chocolate back out. You've started in on grading when she nudges you. You glance up to see her looking abashed.
Do you want some, kiddo?
She's offering her, now mostly empty, bag of candy. She's gotten pencil shavings in it somehow. Ew. You almost say no, but she smiles at you and you're pretty sure she wants you to have some.
Thanks.
And you take a fistful of candy.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Porfiro. Porfiro was written and directed by Joy Stockwell Carpenter. Our script editor is Nicholas Carpenter. Our beta readers are Rhea Carlson and Alyssa Russell. Our audio post-production is done by Ethan Townsend. Our narrator is Natalie Beatty. This episode featured Anastasia Zellner as Antigone, Eli Fritz as Porfiro, Riley Valier as Martin, Alyssa Russell as Carmen, and Randon Tarnoff as Johnny. This episode is dedicated to Mr. Vinci. So high, so low, so many things to know.